Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Glad to welcome you back to the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and it's time for The Other Booth. It's presented by U.S. Wellness Meats. You can eat like a champion with U.S. Wellness Meats. Grass-fed and pasture-raised at U.S. Wellness Meats. Their animals eat right, so you can too. Visit them at uswellnessmeats.com. Save 15% by using the promo code BAMA. Well, we're almost set to go for Saturday, the SEC Championship game, the Alabama Crimson Tide against the Florida Gators. And joining us now over the phone is one of the Gators broadcasters, Jeff Cardozo. And Jeff, it's great to have Alabama and Florida back in Atlanta where this game belongs. How's everything going?
Yeah. Doing great, Roger. Always good to be here. It's been several years for us to be able to partake in this game, and of course the last couple of times Bama had Florida's number in this one, and we'll see how this one's going to go. But it's Dan Mullen, when he got here, the ultimate goal was to win the East, get back to this game, and 3 years into it, he's finally made that happen here at Florida.
Yeah, it's certainly good to see the Gators return to prominence, and everybody was thinking, okay, this is going to be a playoff showdown, everything on the line, and still a lot on the line for Alabama, undefeated 10-0, but the Gators with a loss last time out against LSU. Is there just any way to describe the craziness that we saw from the Swamp Saturday?
No, not really. I think it's, certainly for the fans, it was tough. I think everybody expected Florida to win. You saw what the line was, and I don't think the guys took them lightly at all. The message was there all week, and getting to hang out with the guys, I think they were really pumped, and there's no love lost between Florida and LSU. I think you don't score from the 1 yard line on the first possession to sort of set the tone for the game, and then the weird stuff with the fog rolling in, and I think we know now Florida's lost 2 games this year because they've turned the ball over more than the other side, and that's what happened again in this game. The pick six that Trask ended up throwing, and a couple of more turnovers, and the Gators they had 8 chances in the red zone, only scored 4 touchdowns. And for this offense, obviously with the defense being a little suspect at times, you've got to be able to punch those in. And LSU just made a field goal, Florida didn't. So pretty crazy night in Swamp last week for sure.
Florida certainly missed Kyle Pitts. Just when he's not in, what does that take away from the offense?
Yeah, I think the red zone is the biggest part, and that was very telling last Saturday. He's so good on whoever he does. He's matched up against, and Mullen's really good about finding the mismatch. And of course, Kyle Trask is good at throwing the ball to Kyle Pitts when they have that mismatch. And he goes up, he leaps over everybody. He's obviously able to run some really different types of routes, and Florida does a lot of stuff to set him up in that red zone, and to not have him was a big part of the game. I mean, when he was gone for a couple of weeks after the concussion against Georgia, the other tight ends filled in nicely, but it wasn't in that red zone. So I think that's where the biggest thing was, and we certainly saw that. So it'll be a welcome sight to see 84 back on the field for this one.
Yeah, the Kyle to Kyle connection, Kyle Trask to Kyle Pitts, has been big for Florida all season long. And kind of along those lines, Kyle Trask, just what is he doing right now for the Gators? And what did you see from him maybe in the summertime or getting ready for the year that led you to believe this would be a great season for Kyle Trask?
Yeah, it's great. And I have a little bit of a closer relationship with him. My real job in town, I run a golf course, and he actually interned for me a couple of summers ago. So we had a lot of conversations about so many different things, and just always knew how prepared he was. And this was the summer before he ended up taking over and playing a bunch when Felipe got hurt. So I was really excited for him, and even the practices that we'd be able to go to during that time, Felipe had the stronger arm. He's probably a better runner and the different things that he does, but Trask would just take the guys up and down the field because he's just so smart within the ears, and it's just like he's another coach on the field. And I think that's what's been so good this year, and I think why it's finally getting put all together. He's got so many playmakers. He's got guys that know how to call plays, and then he sees stuff at the line that he's able to check out of, or sees what the coverages are that just makes it so good. And I think that's what has really made him special. And he anticipates throws, which is something that we haven't seen around here in more than a decade. And I think that's what the fans are really excited to see throughout the year. And obviously the numbers he put up better than even Burrow through 8 or 9 games, and that great season that those guys had last year. So it's been fun to watch for sure.
And we've also seen him bounce back after the loss against Texas A&M, just terrific games after that. And you mentioned before the mood of the team kind of heading into the LSU game. From what you're hearing in Gainesville right now, what's the mood of this Gator football team?
Yeah, that locker room last week was tough, Roger. It was, obviously they expected to win, and they felt that they would have played better. And I think you give Kyle a lot of credit because he took a lot of the onus on that. He says it's my fault. I should have played better. And you're still saying this to the guy that threw for 300 or 400 yards and a couple of touchdowns, ran a couple of in. But that's just how good that he feels he can be. And I think it's going to be a tall task, but I think if, again, you look at the turnovers, nobody thought that LSU was going to beat Florida. If the Gators can force a couple, the defense leads the league in sacks, so if maybe they can put some pressure on Jones, obviously you got to stop a really good run game, and you got to figure some things out on the back end. But I think it's a confident bunch, so I think losing that game may, in fact, even make it, man, we've got to play for 60 minutes. We got to show up right from the start and play hard throughout the entire time. So I don't think they took it easy last week, but I just think that they now realize that every play, every time you step over that white line for the 10 seconds that a play is going on, you've got to be really, really good. So maybe the loss was a good thing to Florida, but I know it certainly doesn't help them for the ultimate goal unless they can win this thing.
Our fans certainly know about Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney. Maybe don't know as much, though, about the defense. Who are some of the big playmakers that are going to have to step up against one of the better offenses in the country against Alabama?
Yeah, the linebacker's really, really good. Ventrell Miller, he gets more than 10 tackles a game, so he's all over the field. You've got a couple of guys that get after the quarterback pretty good. Again, that they lead the league in sacks, but you've got a guy in Kyrie Campbell that likes to clog up the middle. TJ Slayton's been really good, so that's 55 and 56 when you see him jersey-wise. And then they haven't really been healthy and had everybody play throughout the entire year. So Jeremiah Moon will be back in this game. He's a guy that can really get after the quarterback, do some different things. And then you've got to get just some better help on the back end. We all know Marco Wilson. He's the guy that threw the shoe. But, before that, he was playing pretty well, and he's got a chance to be a nice little draft pick. You've got a guy in Sean Davis on the back end that sometimes makes some really good plays and sometimes makes some boneheaded plays, but he's got a chance to be a playmaker too. So they have the guys. They just have to be able to watch film, obviously study a really high potent Alabama offense and, figure out how to stop a few guys there on the outside because it's scary, Roger. I know you've gotten to see it all year long, but those guys are legit. So it should be a fun test for these guys.
Certainly should be, and we're looking forward to Saturday, Alabama against Florida in the SEC Championship. And, Jeff, as we start to wrap things up, everybody in Alabama, of course, was concerned and is sending prayers to the Gators men's basketball program, the scary situation with Keontae Johnson. We did get a positive update yesterday, but what can you tell us about what's next for Florida men's basketball and Keontae Johnson?
Yeah, they ended up canceling the game in the middle of the week, and just to try to figure some things out, we ended up canceling Mike White's coaches show this week too. And I think everybody's just, you saw the reaction of the players. They really wanted to go out and try to play and finish that game because they say that's what Keontae wanted, but you could tell they just weren't into that game. Everybody's crying. It's a teammate. It's a guy that's the leader of this team, a guy that was picked to be the preseason SEC player of the year. That's how good he was and how much of an impact he made on this team. So you hope for the best, and there has been a lot of positive news. And I think the trainers are optimistic. Certainly, the good part is the University of Florida has Shands Hospital in Gainesville, which is one of the best hospitals there is around. So the treatment's going to be spectacular. It was awesome to see that he was able to FaceTime the team earlier in the week, and I think a lot of things are very hopeful. I think they're still trying to just figure out what this thing was. So that's the scary part, is just the unknowns of all that. But at least there has been progress made, and a lot of smiles when we're starting to see some things coming around from the Keontae camp now.
Yeah, we'll certainly keep him in our thoughts and prayers for the Gators moving forward. But, Jeff, we're looking forward to Saturday, looking forward to basketball, baseball, everything that's coming up between Alabama and Florida for the rest of the year. But just thank you for your insights on the Gators, and we hope to see you again down the road. Thanks again.
Yeah, of course, Roger. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right, that's Jeff Cardozo with Florida Gators. Thank you for watching the Crimson Tide Sports Network.